working on President Putin.
U.S. President Donald Trump on Wednesday said Russian President Vladimir Putin may be intentionally delaying negotiations on a ceasefire in the war in Ukraine and expressed disappointment at Russian bombing.
We're going to find out whether or not he's tapping us along or not. And if he is, we'll respond a little bit differently. I'm very disappointed at what happened a couple of nights now where people were killed in the middle of what you would call a negotiation. I'm very disappointed by that.
When asked by a reporter what was stopping him from imposing new sanctions on Russia, Trump said he didn't want to scuttle a potential peace deal.
If I think I'm close to getting a deal, I don't want to screw it up by doing that.
Trump's remarks in the Oval Office came as the United States and Russia quarreled in public over the intensifying Ukraine war. Trump warned in a social media post that Putin was, quote, playing with fire. Afterward, Putin's foreign policy aide told a state TV reporter that Trump's remark suggested that he is not well informed on the realities of the war. Meanwhile, the war intensified. Russia said it had downed nearly 300 Ukrainian drones overnight, while Ukraine said Russia had launched almost 90 drones and 5 ballistic missiles. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said Russia also gathered 50,000 troops near the northern Sumy region. Zelensky was in Berlin on Wednesday meeting with German Chancellor Friedrich Merz, who pledged to support Ukraine in producing long-range missiles to bolster its defenses. In a joint press conference, Zelensky said Russia was persistently searching for reasons to delay talks to end the war.
They
do not want to hold talks in neutral Geneva, but they want to have them in a NATO member state, which is Turkey. You see, it is not about which country will host talks and which alliance it belongs to. It is all about Putin and their desire to postpone. They are constantly looking for reasons to postpone a format which can bring an end to the war.
After speaking to Trump on May 19th, Putin said he had agreed to work with Ukraine on a memorandum which would set out the framework of a peace deal. On Wednesday, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said that Russia proposed holding the next round of direct talks with Ukraine in Istanbul on June 2nd, with the aim of achieving a sustainable peace settlement. Ukraine responded, urging Russia to share its memorandum on peace without delay, so that a meeting in Istanbul, quote, won't be empty and can truly move us closer to ending the war.
Portugal's far-right Chega party won second place in the country's snap elections, making it the main opposition party for the first time Wednesday. A final tally by the country's interior ministry that included votes from abroad showed Chega gained 60 seats in the 230-seat single-chamber parliament, 2 more than the center-left socialists. Chega leader André Ventura founded the party just 6 years ago. On Wednesday, he addressed a crowd of supporters after the results.
Chega swept the left bloc off the map in style.
It's a major shift in politics in Portugal, ending 5 decades of dominance by the 2 major parties, the ruling centre-right Democratic Alliance and the Socialist Party. Chega has allied with anti-immigration parties such as Marine Le Pen's National Rally in France and Germany's AfD. It has called for an end to open-doors immigration and tougher sentences for criminals, including chemical castration for repeat rapists. It has also accused the country's political establishment of corruption. Elections results Wednesday also showed the Democratic Alliance headed by Prime Minister Luis Montenegro won 91 seats. It's just short of a parliamentary majority, marking a similar outcome to the previous ballot in March 2024. Opinion polls show Portuguese voters are increasingly frustrated with political elites and elections that only extend a cycle of short-lived governments and legislative gridlock. Montenegro has refused to make deals with Chega and said he would form a new minority government.
In Lagos, Nigeria, an app fusing tradition and technology hopes to redefine spiritual practices. 32-year-old Olawale Olakunle, an Ifa priest, has founded the web-based platform Priests.Africa. He undertakes centuries-old rituals from his desk, streaming his consultation to his client online. It connects users with verified spiritual practitioners in Africa.
Some people don't know how to find a priest. Some people don't know what it looks like relating with a priest. And for that reason, we decided to create a platform where genuine users will meet with genuine priests.
Users purchase virtual currency to engage with priests who set their own rates for sessions. The app ensures transparency and ethical practices through an embedded red flag scanner, which aims to safeguard from unethical interactions. Olakunle says his platform guarantees users receive personalised rituals, complete with video verification. This user, who wishes to remain anonymous, found the platform during a tough period in his life. He says he found spiritual guidance and a renewed sense of purpose.
I realized that some of them just want me to be part of their congregation. They don't really want to solve my problem. I have a problem. I don't want to be under anybody, but I just want to solve my problem and create a relationship. Some of them don't even know what they are doing. And some, they know what they are doing, they understand it, but we don't have a chemistry. They are doing the right thing for me, but I'm not seeing the results.
The platform also has podcasts, which Olakunle hopes will dispel stereotypes and understanding of spiritual practices. He hopes it's a catalyst for genuine spiritual guidance via technology.
Elon Musk is leaving his role in government. A White House official confirmed the move late Wednesday, saying the billionaire's offboarding would begin the same night. The exit caps a tumultuous period since U.S. President Donald Trump returned to power, vowing to give Musk a big job.
And to that end, I have created the brand new Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE. Perhaps you've heard of it, perhaps. Which is headed by Elon Musk, who is in the gallery tonight.
Musk set out to slash government spending, saying in March he could cut at least $1 trillion off federal expenditures.
If we don't do something about this deficit, the country's going bankrupt.
But DOGE attracted huge controversy, with critics saying it was making indiscriminate cuts that threatened vital services without even delivering the promised savings. Many were also angered by the resulting wave of job losses, with some 260,000 roles cut from the federal workforce. The controversy may also have done deep harm to some of Musk's businesses. Tesla sales have slumped in some markets, notably Europe, amid anger over his embrace of far-right politics in some countries. Some investors have also been concerned that Musk simply had too many roles and wasn't spending enough time at his various firms.
You know, they say I wear a lot of hats. It's true. Even my hat has a hat.
Among the worries Musk faces are an aging model lineup at Tesla and a series of failed launches at rocket company SpaceX. Now he says he'll devote himself to business again, and says his firms will be revived with world-changing products, including humanoid robots and robotaxis. Signs of a possible rift with Trump had been apparent in recent days. On Tuesday, Musk criticized the president's big tax bill, saying it was too expensive and undermined DOGE's efforts to trim the budget deficit. However, in a post on X, Musk thanked Trump for his time in government. He said the DOGE mission would continue and only strengthen over time.
Large crowds of people on Wednesday broke into a United Nations aid warehouse in Gaza, the Palestinian enclave now on the brink of famine. The World Food Program said initial reports were that 2 people had died and several more were injured. Eyewitness video independently verified by Reuters showed crowds pushing into the warehouse in the central city of Deir al-Balah and removing items as gunfire rings out. It was not immediately clear how the deaths and injuries had occurred. The war in Gaza was triggered after Hamas-led Islamist militants stormed Israeli communities in October 2023, killing about 1,200 people, according to Israeli tallies. Since then, Israel's military campaign has killed more than 53,000 Palestinians, according to Gaza health authorities, and displaced nearly all residents from their homes. Under mounting international pressure, Israel lifted a months-long aid blockade on Gaza on May 19th. Since then, it has allowed a limited number of relief to be delivered either through the United Nations or the U.S.-backed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, or GHF, which began deliveries this week. However, Israel ultimately wants the UN to work through the GHF, which is using private U.S. security and logistics companies to transport aid into Gaza for distribution by civilian teams at so-called secure distribution sites, like the one that was broken into on Wednesday. Aid officials say families at these sites will be screened for involvement with Hamas militants, potentially using facial recognition or biometric technology. The UN and other international aid groups have refused to work with the GHF. They say the private company's aid distribution plans are insufficient for reaching Gazans, and that the scheme is not neutral. On Wednesday, the senior UN aid official for the occupied Palestinian territories, Jonathan Whittall, described the GHF plan as, quote, surveillance-based rationing that legitimizes a policy of deprivation by design. Slovenia's UN ambassador said on Wednesday that some members of the 15-member Security Council are working on a draft resolution to demand unimpeded aid access. Meanwhile, the UN ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee, told Reuters it was, quote, sad and disgusting that the UN and other groups would not work with the GHF. He described the foundation's aid distribution as, quote, effective so far. The GHF says that across 2 sites currently open, it has so far given out the equivalent of nearly 850,000 meals. The foundation said it is working to open 4 sites and expand further in Gaza in the weeks ahead.
DeepSeek has updated its AI offering in a bid to keep pace with rivals like ChatGPT. The Chinese startup released a new version of its R1 reasoning model in the early hours of Thursday. It's made no official statement and didn't publish any data on the new model. But benchmark tests soon rated it just behind some of OpenAI's latest iterations on code generation. DeepSeek's bot beat a current version of Grok from Elon Musk's xAI on the same test. It was also ahead of Alibaba's Qwen 3. Earlier this year, DeepSeek upended the belief that US export controls were holding back China's AI advances. It also challenged the view that building cutting-edge AI would require vast computing power and billions of dollars in investment. The startup showed it could match US leaders at a fraction of the cost, sending shares in tech giants plummeting. OpenAI has since released a model that relies on less computing power in response. DeepSeek is now widely expected to launch a successor to R1 in the not-too-distant future.